Well, one of the things I would caution people to remember that the stock was $124 a share around Christmas time of last year. And so when you say it was down, yes, it's also climbed 50% off the bottom, which is enormous given that stocks on an average year do about 10% per year. One of the things that I think is important is in the most recently reported quarter, the business, despite all of the scandal, perceived or otherwise, has continued to perform nicely. And also, Mark Zuckerberg has made an indication, and I'd like to hear more going forward, about going from a model where we're screaming in the town square to 2.7 billion monthly active users to something that is smaller groups, more private, probably less dependent on advertising revenue, and more dependent on transactions and e-commerce revenue. So a transition to a new world for Facebook is already in the mix, with or without the public bashing.
What do you think of what Paul just said, Ed? Do you think that that turn of this big battleship is the thing that can turn its reputation in a more positive direction?
I think I agree with Paul if, once that actually starts happening. I mean, this is something that Mark Zuckerberg has talked about as the new direction for Facebook, more private messaging, more group chatting, less public-facing or less public-facing posts. Yeah, I haven't seen that sort of in action. I know it's going to take some time. But, back to the larger point, the shareholders can vote all they like. It comes down to, are you still on the service? And it doesn't seem like people are quite leaving. And the stock is still up. Paul doesn't look like he's selling his shares either. So that's where the real votes come in. The nuance, however, is that, people aren't leaving Facebook or people are still going to Facebook. Kelly, I saw you wrote something recently talking about how it's hard as a new mom to sort of not be on Facebook, right? So even if you don't want to be, you're kind of almost forced to.
They're going to drag me kicking and screaming.
There you go. Well, that's the thing. In that way, I think Elizabeth Warren has a point to make. I think, are they too big and powerful? Should we break them up? That requires a different look at antitrust law or a different interpretation of how we enforce antitrust law. And I think that we're still far away from that. It's a nice call to action, but if you're an investor, you're like, what am I buying into with Facebook? Are people still on it? Yes. What are they on for? That's the other question.